Boo, Bitch Cast and Character Guide, Who's Who in the Spooky Teen Comedy. What happens when we die? All kinds of craziness, according to Boo, Bitch, the spine-tingling new teen comedy coming to Netflix this summer. When plays-it-safe high school senior Erica abruptly finds herself having crossed over to the other side, she's given a challenge. If she becomes more famous in death than she is in life, she can remain in the world of the living. Fail, and the afterlife awaits. Thus, Erica is given a new lease on life and proceeds to live it to the fullest, with colorful fashion, teen romance, and not a few unforeseen consequences. Erica's journey from wallflower to queen bitch of high school begins on July 8, 2022. The show boasts as its executive producer Lana Condor, who's also starring in the series. Joining her will be Jamie Dooner, Freeridge, Blake Goza, The Escort, and Jonathan Comack Martin, Deadpool, along with the show's co-creators Tim Shower, Mark Becomes a False God, and Kuba Soltesiak, John F. Kennedy, The 60 Minutes Interview. Aaron Ehrlich, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and Lauren Ungerich, Awkward, will be joining them as the show's writers. Now let's take a look at the main cast and characters of the series. James Caan defined casual cool in Thief. The film industry lost a legend with the death of the great James Caan. Caan may have launched his career with his Academy Award-nominated performance as Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, but he was able to remain active throughout his career, thus introducing his work to generations of film fans. Caan's fans have enjoyed his active presence on social media. Caan shared his generations of experience with exclusive behind-the-scenes photos, memories, insights, and a wry sense of humor. If you scroll through Caan's feed, you'll find a wealth of astounding knowledge from one of cinema's finest character actors. Caan was already popular in the early 1980s, but his signature role in Michael Mann's Thief was the most important performance of his career. Mann had been working his way up to the director's chair after extensive screenwriting work, and knew that his first feature would be his make-or-break moment. Even with a sparse budget, Thief ended up being one of the most influential films of 1981. The hypnotic visual, synthetic score, and gloomy atmosphere of Thief ended up creating the style that Mann would adopt for the rest of his career. Mann's best work all stems from Thief, and even this year's Tokyo Vice retains the same techniques. That's not even taking into consideration the dozens of Mann imitators that have tried to replicate the same swagger. However, every subsequent project has had to deal with the same issue. It's hard to find someone as cool as James Caan. Caan's off-handed, casual charisma in Thief birthed an entire generation of anti-heroes, and after countless copycats, no one has done it any better. Caan's character Frank is hardly a good guy, but he's not an anti-hero in the style of Taxi Driver's Travis Bickle. Frank doesn't expose his worldview or seek some sort of greater cause. He's simply a guy with a very specific set of skills that's called on to do some disreputable things. Frank has recently been released from prison, and though he's not seeking to make amends, he is looking for a bit of stability. He now owns a car dealership and a bar. Caan hints at Frank's experiences without ever spelling them out discreetly. You can tell based on his attention to detail that he clearly has a knack for picking up on what most people miss. The one last job concept was already a cliché in 1981, but Caan does a great job at showing Frank's reluctance. Frank has a casually dismissive attitude toward everything, and nothing seems to really faze him. While the worst Mann imitators have turned this into a shallow character trait, Caan made it an active acting choice that calls attention to any time Frank really cares about something. Even the slightest bit of energy that he inserts into his conversations with the cashier Jesse, Tuesday Weld, speaks volumes. Yet it's Frank's only passion that ends up drawing him back into the life of crime. When Jessie waxes poetic about her dreams of owning a home and bearing a child, Frank realizes that he'll need to cut corners to make her fantasy a reality. It's a fairly straightforward character motivation, but it works because of how effortless Caan makes these key moments. In a film that is so dedicated to process and execution, Caan grants the key slivers of human emotion that ground the story in an emotional context. He and Jessie only mildly flirt, but it's clear the impression that she leaves on him. Everything that man does from then on is dedicated to process. The heist itself in Thief is pretty straightforward. Frank is enlisted to crack a safe in order to steal a shipment of diamonds, of which he will receive a portion of the profits. However, man spends time showing Frank methodically figure out each combination, assess his surroundings, and make sure no one is following him. The fact that Caan doesn't call attention to himself makes him even cooler. A sequence as simple as Frank sneaking into a vault becomes electrifying when you don't adhere to the cliched Hollywood template for a protagonist. Caan doesn't spout out one-liners, and man doesn't add in any unnecessary obstacles. Frank is simply working through the rigors of his expected assignment. The setup is interesting enough, so why complicate it with added factors that would only detract from the realism? Caan is so focused during these scenes that even the slightest bit of befuddlement manages to take the audience's breath away. Of course, the situation is more complex than it seems, but dealing with shady characters that have ulterior motivations is nothing that Frank hasn't seen before. His employer, Leo, Robert Prosky, threatens to place Frank's family in danger if he doesn't continue to cooperate. Avatar: The Way of Water image reveals breathtaking underwater visuals. With a wave of new information about the upcoming release of Avatar: The Way of Water, a newly revealed image via an Empire magazine exclusive offers a new look at the breathtaking underwater imagery that audiences will experience in the film. The image reveals a young Nausicaa swimming with a smile under the oceans of Pandora. The character in focus is likely one of Jake Sully, Sam Worthington, and Nate Tyrese, Zoe Saldana, children that will appear in the film. The young Nausicaa is swimming through a school of small alien fish, teasing that the oceans of Pandora will offer audiences a rich and detailed ecosystem. The first Avatar was praised for its detailed world building, especially with the speculative evolutionary designs of Pandora's wildlife. With the release of the long-awaited sequel, the world will finally expand as audiences are transported to the planet's oceans later this year. Teasing the photorealistic CGI that audiences will get to experience from the film, the sequel will offer its own visual wonders that will stand out among the first Avatar. The image does an effective job at showing the visual leap that Avatar: The Way of Water will have compared to the original film from 2009, which was lauded for its advancement of motion capture technology and 3D filmmaking, becoming a landmark in the evolution of filmmaking. Avatar: The Way of Water will also stand as a landmark on its own, as the film will be the first to utilize underwater motion capture technology. The recently revealed image, alongside some brief scenes in the film's trailer, offers a brief glimpse of what audiences will be expecting with the new technology, which will give more realistic physics to the CG animation than anything ever seen before. With the release of a new image, director James Cameron revealed in an exclusive with Empire magazine that the film will be around 3 hours long, reflecting the grand scale of the sequel. "I don't want anybody whining about length when they sit and binge-watch television for 8 hours, the director said. With 13 years of development, audiences will only have to wait a few more months to return to the world of Pandora. Going off of what's been shown from the wave of new images, the film is guaranteed to be a visual marvel when it releases in theaters later this year. Avatar: The Way of Water will be released exclusively in theaters on December 16th. The first Avatar will be re-released in theaters on September 23rd. Lost Bullet 2 gets trailer and release date on Netflix. Netflix has revealed the first teaser trailer for the Lost Bullet sequel, which confirms the release date of the French-language movie. Officially titled Lost Bullet 2: Back for More, will release on November 10th on Netflix worldwide. In Lost Bullet 2: Back for More, Lino, Alban Lenore, and Julia, Steffi Selma, took over after the death of Charis and formed the new narcotic unit. Lino, who is determined to find the murderers of his brother and mentor, continues his hunt, and will not allow anyone to stand in his way. Guillaume Pierret directed the movie, a sequel to his 2020 action movie Lost Bullet, which was a big hit for Netflix, attracting more than 37 million viewers in its first 4 weeks. Netflix gave the green light to the sequel after the remarkable performance of the first film. It is a direct sequel that took only 6 weeks to finish production earlier this year. The first movie, Lost Bullet, follows Lino, a whiz mechanic with a knack for building ram cars, until he gets arrested for a heist gone wrong. He has been scouted by the head of a special drug law enforcement squad and has been offered a bargain to avoid prison. Lino has clearly proven his worth 9 months later. But, because he has been wrongly convicted of murder, he has no choice but to find the only proof of his innocence, the bullet from the crime, lodged in a missing car. In France, the film is officially titled Bail Perdu. It was released on June 19, 2020.